All right, y'all, before we start, because some of y'all be tripping, under the advice of counsel, I got to add that the views, thoughts, opinions that are expressed on this podcast are mine and mine alone. They do not represent my employer. All right, let's go.
Because I was like, damn, do we really want to get into this discussion? Because if we get into this discussion right here, y'all.
What's up, y'all? We are back with another episode of Ridgemont Forest Finest, the podcast. And y'all, today, I'm so excited. I'm like fangirling up in here because I got the Attorney Staci Childs up in here. And if y'all do not know, Attorney Staci Childs is one of the best rappers, educators, attorneys, Texas State Board of Educator representatives in the H. So I am so happy to have her here. Y'all been trying to get with her schedule so we can make sure that we get here on here to talk. So I'm so excited to have her here today. So thank you, Attorney Staci Childs.
Thank you for having me.
So I got a time limit, but I got so much I want to talk to you about. So I'm gonna try to squeeze as much as I can.
You ain't gotta squeeze. Take it slow. Take it slow.
Trying to do what I gotta do. So first, let's talk to people who don't know who you are, and let's give them a journey, background into who you are. You were a former educator, turned attorney. Now turned Texas State Board of Educator representative. So give us a little background about Attorney Staci.
All right, let's do it. So I would say my life was a little out of order.
Okay.
But, all things work together for good. I always had being a lawyer in the back of my mind because my 12th grade government teacher said, you should look into being a lawyer. And I'm like, ain't no way I'm going to do that. But I did have that kind of in the back of my mind throughout college and stuff. But I graduated college during the recession, where with a psychology bachelor's degree, you weren't getting a job unless you were going to become a social worker or something like that. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So that's kind of how I became a teacher, and I actually was good at it, and I actually enjoyed working with students. But that being an attorney in the back of my mind that I had back from my government teacher was still there, and I still had that itch I needed to scratch. And I feel like I have an advocate somewhere deep down in me.
You're a teacher. We all got that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I went to law school, and I actually didn't know if I was going to pass the bar exam. So I went back into the classroom awaiting my bar results. And even though I passed, I stayed in the classroom for a while, and that was good. And I started practicing.
Okay.
And after a little while of practicing, I started hearing some things about Texas not wanting to have Black history in the books anymore. And as if it was a lot in the books as it is, right? And that alone was like, oh no, not on my watch. What do I need to sign up for to make sure this doesn't happen? And then someone said, well, if you get on the State Board of Education, you'll have a say-so in curriculum. So I said, okay, sign me up for that.
Okay.
Well, you have to run for office, you have to have an entire election where there's 100,000 people that'll likely vote for you, sure? And I said, well, let's give it a shot. So here we are.
So what is the process? What is that process? See, I told you I'm going to ask you questions that's not even on the paper. But what does that process look like? Because I swear that I am one that says one day I'm going to be in your seat. There, not the attorney seat. Not the attorney seat.
On the SBOE?
Yes, that's it. So what does that process look like for myself and for other people who may want to join? You hear election and we be like, nah, you ain't finna start digging up shit on me.
we get into that later, though.
We are going to get into it.
All right. So first I would say get rid of the imposter syndrome that I know as people we have. A little bit of, especially Black people. That can't be me or not me, or I'm not good enough. I'm not small enough, tall enough, smart enough. I don't speak a certain way. Get rid of that because you are enough. So that's the first thing. But I would say start aligning yourself with certain educational groups.
Okay.
So for me, there's an organization called Leadership for Educational Equity that I'm a part of, and they just know about everything education. So they have their ear to the education
What is it?
streets.
Leadership? I'm write that down.
Leadership for Educational Equity. Shout out to Lee. Thank
Okay.
you. And some people are a part of teachers unions. Teachers unions are a good way to stay informed on what's happening in the educational space as it relates to politics and what's happening on the state and national level. So just working with them over the years, I was an advocate in various spaces. I would go to school board meetings from time to time, and I would speak up on Black kids, for example, being over-disciplined. I guess they saw something in me, and they thought, well, maybe you'll be good for this role. And it takes first a talk with your family or a talk with your friends, because your whole life is going to be turned upside down, at least for as long as the campaign lasts. And it takes a hard look at self. Where are you financially? Where are you mentally and physically and spiritually? Because for me, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And because it's never ending. For me, I just had a primary race. Some people have to go all the way to run from for a year or 2 or 3. Think about the Obamas or the Beto's of the world where they're campaigning endlessly. That's very tasking on the body. So you have to get a regimen in place where you can withstand what's going to happen during that campaign.
So what does it look like financially? Like you talking to potentially teachers who want to sit on that spot, teachers who already are, living paycheck to paycheck, rubbing pennies together to make the basic.
Me too. And don't let this attorney title fool you. I'm a public defender, so me too.
So what does it look like financially? Like what is the financial?
So make sure you have your taxes in order because they might come after you, and if you owe, they might try to find it and make a YouTube video about you owing the IRS. Anyway, honestly, if you are a good candidate and you care about students or you care about your issues, the right people, the right PACs, which are organizations that raise money for candidates or for issues, they will find you and they will fund you. So don't let money be the reason that you don't run. In fact, I've been thinking about various seats similar to SBOE for a few years, but I was like, not me. I don't have any money. But you don't really need money. If you align yourselves with the right people, they'll support your campaign because they want to see you put into effect things that align with what they want.
I guess just like how we got some of the people sitting in the office that we got right now. We got people funding their beliefs, their ideology.
But don't get it twisted. Some people feel like you have to sell your soul to get money. No, you don't. I mean, if you, for example, care about higher teacher pay, there are organizations that also care about higher teacher pay, and they say, hey, if you promote higher teacher pay, which you already care about, we'll give you $500 or $1,000, or we'll pay for radio time for your ads. So.
Okay, well that's good to know. Because I'm thinking presidential. Like I know they gotta have some money. So
but the same thing applies though. You could think presidential. I see that for you.
Thank you.
But the same thing applies when you are doing what you do and you're invested in the work, the people will find you.
Okay, that makes sense. So we have this thing. So after COVID, right? People tend to not listen to educators that have not been in the classroom post-COVID. So how do you, since you've been out of the classroom for a while in the legal field, how do you deal with critics that say, like, you're out of touch with what the kids need because you haven't been in the classroom? You don't know what teachers are going through right now. You don't know what the kids need. How do you deal with people that kind of are like naysayers?
Honestly, I have a lot of naysayers, but I don't have naysayers when it comes to that because I face that head on. Like, you're right, I am out of touch. You all know better than me. In fact, I finished teaching weeks before COVID. Believe it or not, I left the classroom like mid-school year.
Oh, wow, okay.
Which I know is atypical for teachers, but I am out of touch, and I couldn't imagine what it's like to go teach your students in person, go teach them on Zoom and still be accountable for them and try to take attendance online.
Girl, that was
and half of the parents, the teachers, and the students don't know how to work. And then you want me to come back and deal with all these discipline issues and students who don't want to be here, and you want me to engage them? I don't know that life. So I try my best to listen to teachers as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. So let's talk about the curriculum controversy. So we got a big old glimpse of Attorney Staci with the whole Prager U video that went viral with you expressing your views and opinions about Prager U. Sure. And I think you were quoted as saying, like, if you had anything to do with it, Prager U would never be in Texas schools. And it got on the wrong, I like to say it got on the wrong side of TikTok, it got on the wrong side of Instagram, and people went nuts. You had a bunch of positive, but you had a bunch of trolls in the other side, conservatives just going in. So let's, first of all, talk about Prager U for people that don't understand why that's such a big deal for teachers, especially African-American and minority teachers and students. And then let's talk about your context on some of the views and challenges you face with that. Okay, so let's first talk about some legislation that was passed. So as a member of the State Board of Education, I can't necessarily make laws. Right.
However, the House of Representatives and the Senate passed something called House Bill 1605, and that relates to high-quality instructional materials. So they have put all these parameters in place for us to critique as board members what's high quality or not. With vendors in the world knowing that that law is coming down the pipeline, they know, well, eventually you guys are going to have to choose who's high quality or not. And Prager U has been becoming a vendor in other states, and they decided to start talking with board members in Texas about whether or not they would come to Texas. They did not talk to all 15 board members. We did not have a vote on that. They just talked to one, I guess, I don't know if they're friends or they're homies, comrades. And one of my board members said, we can't wait for Prager U to come to Texas, and we're ready for Prager U to come to Texas. And I was thinking, who is we? The board? You and your family? Who's we? Right? So I decided to do a little research. And all of you can do the same thing. You could type in Prager U on YouTube, and after the first 2 to 3 videos, you're like, what is going on? And it's really cringy because they have these cartoons. Yes. So when you see cartoons, you're thinking, oh, this is cute. Yeah, kids like this. Yeah. But as you keep listening, you'll hear things like indigenous people were cannibals, and we had to stop them from eating people, and slavery.
Saving you from yourself.
Yeah, and slavery, that was a long time ago. As if my grandfather, one person, my daddy's daddy, wasn't born in 1898, right, and got a 2nd grade education and wasn't a sharecropper. It was a long time ago, though. Yeah. So slavery was a long time ago. It was better than being murdered, right? While some people would argue that maybe being murdered would be better than slavery, right? Because here we are, generations later, still talking about it. So it was really cringy, really awful, and I'm like, there's no way on earth that you want to teach students in Texas or students in general this. So the Democrats on the board decided to get together and host a press conference. And I don't know if it's like the inflection in my voice, because it wasn't my idea to have this press conference. I'm like, why they come after me? So we decided to have this press conference, and I was maybe 3rd to last to speak. And really all I said was, if y'all trying to come here, not on my watch. Happening. And they didn't like that.
They did not.
They didn't like that. I don't know if they had ever been challenged like that. I don't know if someone had with the power to make the vote or make the decision ever said something like that to them in their face. But instead of having a conversation with me, instead of having some discourse, instead of wanting to know, well, what is it about our curriculum you don't like? Right. Let's make it better. Instead of having adult conversation and tweaking their curriculum, they decided to troll me. They decided to find another black person, so they couldn't call it racism because we got a black man on our side.
Bad fool.
They tried to find another black person from Georgia, from my hometown, to come and troll another black man in that, right? So, because one thing you guys will learn about me as we continue to talk is when it comes to black men and black women, you're not gonna see me disrespecting a black man or a black woman on my page. That's just no nonsense. I'm very sensitive about that. And you're gonna get a black man to come and troll me. So that took me for a loop. And
it's a very specific black man too, though.
Right.
This was the black man that was, first of all, already an advocate for Prager U.
Sure. Getting paid by Prager.
I was just about to say, I felt like he was deep in their pockets because the way he was defending them and the way he defended them on other videos that had nothing to do with yours. Right. It's like, oh, you deep in their pockets. You are the token.
That's right.
And then when you look at other dynamics of his personal life, I'm going to just be very generic. It's a specific type of black man that went after you. Right. So it wasn't like the... what we always talk about. Right. But when we talk about the trolling, and I guess, and I what I read in comments, because I'm in your comment section fighting.
Thank you. Wait, before you ask me this question, can I give you your flowers on your show?
Oh, no, I don't like attention.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. No because you know how they say you could get 1,000 good comments, but one bad comment will stick out like a sore thumb. So imagine all those negative comments. And we didn't know each other, and you defended me like that. That meant a lot.
Well,
so
thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So I'm looking at the comments, and I'm like, I guess it's politics. You got people in the comments saying, well, this is politics. You're going to have to deal with it. And I'm like, y'all are unintelligent. Because what does what you're saying have to do with anything that she's saying? And it was the negative attacks on appearance that did it for me. Because I said that's what they love to do. When they encounter an educated, informed black woman, right? I can't get you here. I can't beat you here. So let me try to attack what I think may be a sensitive spot.
I feel like they can't attack me on the loose either, though.
Baby,
that's whole time.
That's what I say. I always but you for real, because I always say, even in my comments when I encounter people that have negative things to say about me, I'm like, I really wish y'all knew the real me and knew that my parents raised the most arrogant, confident children ever. You're never going to say anything about me to make me feel bad about myself. And I'm raising my kids to be the same way. So I'm like, damn, I really want y'all to stop wasting y'all time. Right. But run them comments up, because them comments is engagement. Hello? Engagement is coinage in my pocket. So I think they probably need to understand it, because if they knew that even negative or positive was putting money in our pockets, they probably would be like, I'm just going to scroll on.
Leave it alone.
They're going to leave it alone. So, but there's that. So when we're talking about groups like those groups that were coming for you, I can't help but think about like Moms for Liberty, who got their asses whooped in a lot of elections. So a lot of that stuff didn't work out for them. But how do you deal with groups like that?
Ooh,
the Moms for Liberty.
So, what helped me get out of that funk called Prager U and everything that came with that is, again, a lot of this stuff is community and alignment.
Absolutely.
Like, literally, all of this is alignment.
Right.
So, when that happened, I started having people come out to me like, hey, let's have a session with you. Let's have a meet and greet. You need to meet people in your community that have your back, because that is not representative of the real and the truth. We care about you. We want you. We appreciate you for being our representative. Come, let us host something for you. And that filled my spirit and that helped me. So anytime I see groups that are trying to troll me or come for me, I align myself with people that are like me more often than not. That's what helps me.
That's good.
That
That'll
community.
work.
Yeah.
And I think another big thing, and this is something I've been trying to do, and the algorithm on social media is so funny, right? I'm like you, I don't like making videos about, black men, black women discourse. I hate that. I really try not to get into it at all. But I noticed that even jokingly, if you make a video about something like that, if it's what the algorithm wants, it's going to spin that video like a mug. But if I make a video saying, hey guys, this is Attorney Staci Childs, yada, 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 it's going to spin and then it's going to stop. Or it won't even spin at all. Or it get held under review forever. They're not going to do it because you're trying to introduce us to somebody that's representing us, and that'll give more of us a voice. And what we can't have is more y'all having a voice and more y'all being informed about what y'all got to do. And so now that we have this space, I think it's important for us to understand or inform the people how the Texas State Board works, right? So it's like, 13 of y'all? 15 of y'all. And you represent different regions in the area. So we have, how many in Houston area? Because Houston's so large.
So District 4, where I am, is mainly Central Houston and Southeast Houston, Northeast Houston. District 6 is West Houston. District 7 is the southeastern tip of Houston, and then you have a little bit of District 8 that's in Houston. So four
of you guys representing the greater Houston area-ish. Okay? And so when we have issues with our... I don't know. I'm trying to word this question. Right. Because some of you represent our best interest.
Sure.
And some of you don't represent our best interest. You represent your best interest or the people that you represent.
Sure.
Unfortunately, in the area of Houston that I fall in, I have a person that definitely does not align with the best interest of people that look like me, students that look like me. This person was, unfortunately, a member of our school board before being outed for what they were, and then promoted. I say promoted because you get
it was a promotion.
You got a bigger stage to spew your hatred. And as I'm reading the comments on your videos and different things that came with your videos, people were advocates of hers that were very, and it just boiled my blood because I'm like, I wish people knew like who you're voting for, who you're talking about. I wish you knew this person, and this person does not represent your child's best interest.
Can I push back on that a little bit? All right, so I'm a Democrat, and the person you're talking about is a Republican. The problem that I think the Democratic Party has is that we fall in love with candidates. You don't really know the person. Who is the person? And is she pretty? Is she smart? What school does she go to? Republicans fall in line with their party.
Absolutely.
So they don't care who she is. Yeah. They don't care what she stands for because it's about party. And I'm not going to say that's bad because I think the Democratic Party needs to do more of that. We need to be stronger. We need to care more about party more. But those people in them comments it could have been E.T.
It don't matter.
It could have been board member E.T. and they would have said yes, what E.T. said.
Because the E.T. got to look.
Yeah, because they fall in line with parties.
They oh man, it's so annoying. And this is why I want my people, especially where I am, see I'm getting off topic again, but especially where I am, where football is like the end all be all, right? And why y'all are so vocal about things, baby, when I say football where I am, baby, we got soap operas. We got like Real Housewives, Love and Hip Hop shit going on where I am. Because that's how serious football is when it comes to parents and coaches and beefing and whatever. And I go to the football games. My son plays football. I go to the games and I'm like, damn, I see all of y'all here. And y'all so vocal. Y'all so vocal about, is the son playing your kid? Is the coach playing your kid at this position? Is this mama doing this? This mama doing this with this coach? Y'all so vocal. But y'all empty. It's empty at Meet the Teacher. It's empty at Open House. It's empty at Parent-Teacher Conference. And there's so many, y'all fussing with the coach about the policies he has on the team, but have you talked to your school board members about the policies they have for your sons in the school building? And I'm like, we're informed on the things that we want to be informed on. And so people like to say, well, they're just, nobody's telling them. Like, no, we telling y'all ain't listening.
I'm going to push back on that too.
Okay, come on.
Okay. So, and I know some of your listeners might think that's an excuse, but we like to feel smart where we feel smart at.
I can agree with that.
And when it comes to policy and laws, if historically you have not been exposed to that and you ain't been knowing what's going on, I'm not going to necessarily feel inclined to be in that space just because my kid goes to school. You would think so, but that's not it. But football, I played football. My granddaddy played football. My brothers played football. I can play every position, so I know this. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to speak out.
And so then when I'm going to push back on that one too. But when we talk about that, so we're not talking about just the physical act of playing football. Right? We're talking about, I'm opening the book. I'm looking at the UIL rule book. I know the policy. I know section 2.83 say my son can't do. You know that. You researched that. You studied that because that's important to you. So I'm here to say, okay, guess what? After this coach gets through using the hell out of your black son, okay, for all the rules you pulled in that UIL handbook, now it's time for him to go to school and get a degree, go to school and get a scholarship. And now his senior year is down to the wire. They're ready to offer that. All the 30 offers he got to get into the school, baby. That's just publicity. That's just marketing for the school. He got to get into the school, but you never knew that your son was so many credits behind.
He got to do another year before he graduates.
He's a fifth-year senior. What you talking about? And so things like that. Or wait a minute, the school, University of Chicago, I just made that up, requires a 2.5 to get in. My son got a 2.1. My son got a 1.9. Oh, the coach said, thank you. We made third-round playoffs. We didn't make it to the state, but thank you for your services. Clean your lockout, though, because I got to get this next group in. And now you standing there looking stupid. Your son standing there looking stupid. So it's like, I want us to educate ourselves more. When we talk about policies in school, discipline, I'm gonna talk to you about discipline stuff. So there's so many other things that we as black people, black and brown people, need to make sure that we're educating ourselves on, that we can be present for. So when people say, well, parents don't know, or this wasn't my experience when I was a kid, this is all I know is football, I'd be like, that's an excuse, because you know a whole lot more. You know, I can say, yes, there's an education barrier, with some
people. It's just a representation barrier, too, though. Because a lot of people have been coming up to me saying, like, thank you for just being there. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being there. And to me, I appreciate it, but I also feel patronized because I'm like, well, I'm just sitting here, it's doing something. It's because by you sitting there, I feel like I have a closer seat at the table by you sitting there. Because you read that piece of paper, I feel like I too can read the piece of paper because you understand those policies. Maybe I can too.
Right.
So that's what representation does. And again, y'all need to start learning the policies in y'all schools, but if historically you have not had a seat at the table or had people in your family or people that look like you with a seat at the table, I'm not going to be inclined to go that route.
Yeah. So, and I think a lot of times, even with, like you said, having a seat, a lot of parents would like, oh, well, it's one of us representing us. I'm going to take a step back. And it's like, no, baby, numbers.
Right.
Bring it.
Oh, man.
So that's another battle that we're having. But again, I feel, and I made a TikTok video about this, it's about what people are choosing to consume. If things are not of interest to them, things are not important to them, they're not going to want to consume it. But we can consume the Love and Hip Hops and the Shawns and Blue Faces and all that.
You know what? I think, what I'm about to say.
Come on.
Might be a little.
Come on.
I think, I'm going to talk black real quick.
Come on.
I think in general, black people have been operating in survival mode for so long. So it's either, is it life or death? Okay, cool. That's for me.
Right.
And when it's not life or death, they're not really interested. So when it comes to go to your school board meeting, it's like, okay, you going? Okay, tell me what happened.
Right.
But if somebody got murdered on the street by a police officer, it's life or death. So now I want to go protest. Now I want to go be in the number. And I want to encourage us to not be so reactive. To be a little bit more proactive. So things like that don't have to happen because we always show up and we always show
up. And I think another thing, with parents coming to things like school board meetings, like they don't understand like what major decisions, how many major decisions are made at these meetings. Even something to them where they think the hiring of a principal or an assistant principal is just an HR thing. They did an interview and they got picked out of a bucket and it became. No, those people are voted on. They're named at these board meetings. If you know something personal about this person and you want to get your 10 minutes or your 3 minutes on the program to speak, these are the times. And where I've been, so many principals have been named that are not good for kids.
All right.
And had people been proactive and informed, educated, they could have had a hand in that. But we don't get to see it until they've already done damage to our kids.
But let me just say something to that, though. When have we, because I think a lot of times by the time you're an adult, it's too late. So when have we historically been taught that we have power in school board meetings?
Never.
Yeah, and I think that's why I love education so much. I know I'm into music now and I'm in the law now, but I just have this heart for education because I know it's the great barrier to everything. Yeah. My mom and dad did great. They ain't never go to no school board meeting.
Facts.
I went to my first school board meeting probably as an adult. I don't remember any of my grandparents or aunts or uncles, and they were great. They didn't go to school board meetings, and it's a lot of powerful things happening, but I've never seen that. I was exposed to that in my adulthood. So we need to start exposing young people to the civic process.
Absolutely.
When they're young. And we need to tell them, no, this is not just community service when you feel altruistic. This is life. You have to do this. When we start teaching young people to be like that, it'll be better.
And okay, again, you said something that's so triggered something else in my mind. It kind of is going to play on the curriculum with that too. In school districts, we're so pressed and rushed to get through certain units and things, right? So when you talk about civics and government, even I'm thinking as like an 8th grade teacher, when it comes to that little portion of the curriculum that we get to teach the 8th graders about civics and government and voting and laws and rules, which typically happens around the election time when it falls into the unit. It's, designed that way. But we have all of these rules in place. Okay, talk about this, but you can't talk about this. You can say this, but you can't say that. So it's like, damn. Are we educating them or not? So even when we are in a place that's designed to educate them, to inform them about, their rights. And even something like my friend now is teaching the Constitution. Okay, you could teach the Constitution, but don't say this.
So to that, we need to start having conversations with teachers in Texas about Senate Bill 3, and that's what you guys are talking about, the bill that made people so scared to talk about like government and laws and stuff, because it says that you need to engage in discourse that's free of political bias. That don't say don't engage.
Right.
I read the law line by line. 'Cause I'm like, everybody's so scared to talk about black, white, Latino. They don't. It's like certain slavery. It's like certain words. Like, no, you actually can teach these things. You can say these things, but the SB3 reads as long as it's free of political bias, right? So you can't promote a certain ideology. You can't say, hey, this is what happened and it was bad. You can just state the facts.
This is what happened. You be objective.
That's right. That's right. So I'm glad you brought that up because I want to encourage teachers not to stray away from that. But to your point about civics, 8th grade too late. 8th grade way too late.
That should have been like, what, 3rd, 4th grade?
Yeah. Like I'll say 2nd, 3rd grade because I taught 5th graders. I remember this was back when Scarface was running for a city council in Houston. He was running for District D. And I was trying to explain briefly during, I think it was like during the Do Now or Homeroom or something. I was trying to explain that. And the kids were so excited, but they needed so much background knowledge that they didn't have. And these were 10-year-olds. So, yeah, we need to start doing a better job of teaching.
And I know teachers, they could have the law in front of them. They could know the rules, but they're going to get pushback from their districts, their schools. Like, yeah, we know the state of Texas say this, but we say this. And so teachers are afraid. Teachers are afraid to push back. So you have...
That's what it was written for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so you have very few, and I'm going to say few of us, that's vocal and don't give shit. And you have others that are like, I got to tiptoe around. And it's really heartbreaking, too, because even I feel like this year, hell, I'm going to be honest, since post-COVID, I keep saying I'm in my teacher villain era where I used to be this amazing, dynamic, we gonna get it all out here. Now it's like, it's so many things against you, and I'm like, do I feel like dealing with the backlash of this? I'm just gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it surface level, because just don't feel like dealing with it. But it's heartbreaking because Like, I know I'm a damn good educator. You know, there are many other damn good educators that could really be informing kids and teaching kids and helping kids. But it's like, do I want to deal with the noise that's going to come on this side when I do what I do when I close
And
my
that's
door?
where your leadership's supposed to step in and affirm you and help you get out of that funk.
Right.
Because I know you're a good educator and you should feel good when you're teaching. You shouldn't feel like, nah, I'm not going to ruffle those feathers. To me, the classroom is the place where you
That's
ruffle
the
feathers.
place.
You are supposed to argue. You are supposed to question and ask why. Well, what happened? What happened next? What happened next? Why that happened? Who did that? Why they shoot him? Why they do that? You know? So, yeah.
But we definitely, I think, are teaching kids to not question. We teach
That's
kids
right.
to be in line. And it was so crazy because the other day, my daughter's an 8th grader. She's my baby of my bunch, and she goes to school with me. My daughter has the most amazing social studies teacher, and I hope she's supposed to get here because I want you to meet her.
Okay.
But and she can teach. I mean, this is crazy, the shit that comes off this lady's brain. And so we were riding to school, and my daughter said, "Mom, why is everybody talking about boycotting Starbucks? Why is everybody talking about boycotting McDonald's?" And da-da. And I said, well, so I gave her a very surface level, right? And I said, but that'll be an amazing question for you to ask in social studies class today. And then I said, but don't ask her out loud because we got an email, big old email from the top
Lord.
that said, hey, we service, and we do, in my area that I work in, we service a diverse, our school is super, super diverse.
Awesome.
And so we service, all types of nationalities, ethnicities, race, whatever. And we got an email from district leadership and campus leadership that said, hey, we know this is going on right now in the world. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. So my daughter's question was regarding that topic. And I said, I want you to ask her because I know she's going to give you an amazing answer. I said, but don't ask her in front of everybody because I don't want to put her in a position to where she, has to offend one side.
One
or another
student
side
goes home and
because-
says, "We talked about this."
Because that's actually what happened because another teacher made a comment about something, and so the student went home and said, "Oh, Mom, in such and such's class, we talked about," and the mom went left. She sent this damn 4-page letter email out, and so leadership was like, "Hey, don't talk about, just squash it. If it ain't in the curriculum, squash it." But damn, these kids have questions that have nothing to do with the curriculum. Their questions, if we listen to and let them expose themselves and express themselves every day, we would never be on curriculum because they have.
Oh, we would be.
Oh, we could be. I'm
Yeah,
gonna make
we would
anything
be.
teak.
There we go. There we go.
That's me. I'm gonna make anything.
There we
teak,
go.
Cause I done got my ass out of trouble a lot of times
Okay.
making it teak. But for this question, and so during lunch, my daughter, I said, you can go ask her now that she's by herself. And so she asked her. She gave her the most beautiful explanation of what was going on, and my daughter was like, oh, that makes sense, which prompted her to go home and do further research on her
There
own.
you go.
And I said, this is teaching. This is teaching. So imagine if she was able to give that same explanation to the 30 that she was able to give to my one. But we're stifling not only teachers' voices, but stifling kids' growth. Because
That's right.
damn, and I'm sitting there listening. I always learn from her because I'll be like, damn, I ain't never heard this shit before. Like, what you talking about?
Yeah, and what makes me upset is like think about the impact that it will have when these children become adults and they have not been taught to critically think. We're talking about getting out of situations. We're talking about college, financial aid, jobs. When you're gonna choose whether or not you go to the military, or contracts, I mean, or even relationships.
Yeah.
You do not know how to like do anything.
No.
Because we're not teaching them how to think critically.
We're in the box, so we're stuck in the box as educators because everybody's scared for their jobs, even though we barely making ends meet. We're scared, and the kids are stuck because they can only go as far as we
That's
can.
right.
And even in class, like I'll be like, "Ooh, that's a good question. I can't go there. Go home and Google it. Do your Googles." But that's really a conversation I want to get into, and it's like. We always say, "Oh, these kids ain't smart. These kids, man, these kids are
They way
so
smarter than I
bright.
was.
Man, these kids,
It's so smart.
and sometimes it's scary how
Yeah,
bright they are.
it's so
But-
smart.
So, but we say, oh, they didn't memorize the Constitution. They're not smart. They didn't meet the objective for the state of Texas. They're not smart. No, baby, they're not interested in that.
That's right.
Now, ask them to talk about whatever, and you're going to learn you something.
Yeah. I also want to say, because I know a lot of teachers are listening, you guys need to join these work groups with the State Board of Education, because in these working groups, they are deciding what the curriculum is and what the standards are and what's important for students. Because if we don't have y'all, then we won't have a curriculum that's like relevant to all types
Right.
of students. And I think that's where we're headed.
Man, that's... ugh.
Because now, I mean, I can say this, it's public knowledge, I guess. With House Bill 1605, in the state of Texas, there are going to be required books that every student has to read. I'm like, well, who's choosing those books?
Who is choosing those
Well, which books are they going to be? I want to be on the panel where they're like, ma'am, you're on the board, so you would be choosing at the end. I'm like, no. I want to be a part of the process from beginning to end, because I refuse to let y'all choose a book or two for an entire grade level across the state, and it's not representative of students that look like me or that don't look like me.
Which is the problem that we're having right now. We had a data meeting the other day looking at something like an assessment, beginning of whatever year assessment. They test these kids so damn much. But we're looking at the data of the assessments, and so my department, we scored very, very well compared to other kids in the district. But I'm looking and I'm like, these stories that y'all keep choosing for these assessments are so whack. Like the kids, I'm testing, I'm monitoring, or proctoring a test, actively monitoring or whatever. They falling asleep. I'm like, dog, I don't care nothing about Kennedy's speech at Rice University in 1965. I get that we have to get kids to analyze political speech and political debate. I get that that's a part of the teach.
Sure.
You couldn't find nothing from like 21, 22, 23, something that they
could.
They could.
All this stuff happening.
But it's here, I'm finna go on my tangent. It's designed for our kids to not do well.
I agree.
And so we talk about, you saw that viral video, the teacher talk about kids can't read, they on the third grade level, they in the seventh grade, they on the third grade level. And I say, yeah, for the most part, they all behind. But it's what we're choosing for them to read.
That's right.
That has them not even loving to read.
Right. And if you have a seventh grader that's reading at a third grade level, that doesn't mean they don't have the emotional capacity of a seventh grader. So if you're going to take a Lexile level down, you can't have them reading Mary Had a Little Lamb. We need to start creating books that have the emotional depth of their age. Just use easier words. This is a simple fix, right? But this is simple. But if you're not thinking like that, I had a student. We'll name him Brian. Brian was so emotionally like intelligent and so smart. He was like the leader of his family, but he couldn't read. He don't want to read about rubber duckies and stuff like that. No. He wants to read something because he can handle it emotionally and spiritually and mentally, but he just can't decode words. We need teachers in these boardrooms, in these spaces that are thinking like that. So when these texts are chosen for 5 million kids across Texas to read, it needs to be reflective of students like Brian.
So that's when you have, okay, guys, we know we got these Moms for Liberties groups that's going against choice. I like to say, well, choice for some of us because they want choice for themselves, but choice for us. This is where we come together in numbers, because why do we have such? I'm talking about groups this group just started out as a little grassroots group that has grown to this national, organization. Why can't that be us? Why can't there be a Black and Brown Moms for Alliance? I'm making up shit outside my head.
No, right.
But why can't there be why can't there be a group of us to combat the shit that they're putting out? And it can be, but nobody wants to do the legwork. Nobody wants to, ruffle feathers. Nobody. And I'm like, no, y'all's voices this is why they're getting so much attention, because they're making the noise. We ain't making no noise.
I got something to say about that.
Come on.
All right, 2 things. So I don't know personally any of the moms and Moms for Liberty, but what are those moms doing during the day? What are they doing during the day? We'll leave that right there. We'll just, whatever Moms of Liberty, the moms are doing during the day, that's why they had the time to get together and create Moms of Liberty. However, we can do that.
We can.
But sometimes it feels like we're starting to operate very separate, and we don't like to come together. It's like, well, you got your podcast over here, she got a podcast over there. It's like, well, no, let's join.
Let's come together.
Let's communicate. Let's talk. And I don't know why, for people like us, we're not as communal as we used to be.
And
I don't know what happened.
That's the end. Yeah. And it's crazy too, because some of the Moms for Liberty are us. So one of the founders is us.
Everybody that's just kinfolk.
And kinfolk, yeah. But so I think, again, go back to what you said earlier about what you align yourself with, right? And if you align yourself with, I want my kids to only be exposed to A, B, C, D, and I'm gonna align myself with other people who want their kids to be exposed to A, B, C, D, even though it may look like a little hatred, may look like a little, bias. I just want my kids to be exposed to the better and the finer.
Sure.
Because we always assume that that's better, that's finer.
Sure. And the illusion of inclusion keeps us highly disillusioned.
I like that.
That's what my ELA teacher.
Oh, come on, ELA.
Shout out to Dr. Hall.
I like
taught
that.
me in ninth grade.
I like that. We have to put that on the shirt, Dr.
Yeah.
I like that. So let's get into, I had a story that I did the other day, other week, and I reached out to you. We connected on that one because there was a young lady in Aldine ISD. Was it Aldine ISD? I can't remember. Let me say the wrong name and get sued. I think it was Aldine ISD. And her first day riding the school bus, 7th grader, first day riding the school bus. And some little boys were throwing marbles or throwing rocks or something. She turned around and said, "Hey, please don't do that. Stop doing that." And one of them was like, "What you gonna do about it?" And a fight ensued between the girl and one of the young men. Mm-hmm. And as she was defending herself, fighting back, defending herself from his attack, his friend jumped over the seat mm-hmm. and joined in on the attack. Mm-hmm. All 3 of them were suspended off the bus for the rest of the school year. Mm-hmm. The girl was punished because she fought back. Because in the state of Texas, schools, we have this thing called mutual combat. And the mutual combat, I'm going to dummy it down for people,
sure.
You know, and we're not attorneys. I'm going to dummy it down. It basically says you defend yourself, you fight back, you were no longer under attack. The person was not a threat to you anymore because you didn't fold in the fetal position and get attacked. And so because this young lady fought back, a boy that was clearly on the video twice her size, he didn't get the charges pressed against him because they were both mutually fighting. The other boy that jumped in got the charges. And I said, wait, this is crazy. But as a teacher, we see this happen all the time. This mutual combat law that we got going on. And unfortunately, and we can get into this later, it really be affecting
sure.
us.
Sure. Okay.
Us. So let's talk about that.
Woo. All right, a lot to say.
Okay, come on.
So, you know how they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder? Mm-hmm. Well, who gets in trouble is in the eye of whoever creates this policy or whoever creates this law. What do you define as mutual combat? Mm-hmm. And who decides what mutual combat is? So in the law, police officers can decide what's mutual combat and what's self-defense just right then and there. Oh, that sounds like mutual combat. Y'all can go home. Mm-hmm. I don't think that was self-defense. I think that was a fight. We're going to give you an assault charge. Mm-hmm. So it's really just up to the person that saw it happen as to whether or not it's going to be mutual combat or self-defense. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if if the bus driver made that decision, if the principal made that decision, but we need to have a better threshold of what mutual combat is because it's really up to whoever sees the fight. So that's the first problem. Secondly, when it comes to like disciplining, we just need to do a better job of it. We just really do. Growing up, a lot of black people were taught if somebody puts their hands on you, what do you do? But then when you whoop their ass, exactly. But when you come to school, you get in trouble for that. Mm-hmm. But you're rewarded for that at home. So I think when it comes to creating these policies, once again, we need to have more people in the spaces that have a keen eye to how some people were raised so that they're not getting in trouble for what they get rewarded for at home.
But it's kind of odd though, right? Because I'm expected to follow these rules in school, right? But once I step outside of the school and I'm just a person on the street, if somebody walks up to me and starts attacking me and I attack them back, the law is totally different.
But that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Like if first of all, if somebody was throwing rocks, if I'm not mistaken, that's a violation of Texas Penal Code 42.002. You're not supposed to use an dangerous object to inflict bodily harm on someone. Okay. So by way of that little big boy throwing the rock, he should have gotten suspended or maybe even expelled. Mm-hmm. That's it. Mm-hmm. It don't matter if she fought back or not. The minute you threw the rock, that's it.
Right.
So I don't know what happened there. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm saying, like, who made the decision that all 3 of them were going to get in trouble? Because that's not mutual combat. If rocks were thrown first, that's done. And it wasn't mutual.
I feel like when schools are exposed, right? I always say that school district attorney, no shade to you.
No, you good, yeah.
I always say the school, we people say that criminal defense attorneys are the worst people in the world. I think school district attorneys are the worst people in the world because, baby, let me tell you something. Been in the game for 23 years. I done seen some shit with these school districts. And, like, I've seen schools and school personnel be dead ass wrong in a situation. Sure. A parent take them to court. And I had a situation where I was some things happened that shouldn't have happened. Parents sued the school district because y'all should have been watching my kid. Y'all shouldn't have allowed this to happen. Lost. School turned around, sued the parent and won. I'll tell you about that off camera.
What?
Sued the parent and won. And so it's like, y'all are slime balls. Like,
Right.
girls.
Well, why would they want to sue was the parent rich or something?
No, not at all. The parent wasn't rich, but
Oh, so that was just okay.
your lawsuit got to the media.
Oh, that's
you
why.
made us
Okay,
look
no,
bad.
we're gonna sue you back.
Gonna
So
sue
you know
you
that
back.
that wasn't our fault.
It wasn't our fault.
Ego.
But it was definitely your fault. We'll talk about that.
But yeah, so like what I don't even know if I should say this on camera, but I have represented some students who've been expelled for things that were deemed mutual combat when really it was self-defense, or deemed for other disciplinary issues when really when you read the black letter law, which is just a fancy way of saying the words on the paper, if somebody threw something at you, you have the right to defend yourself. It didn't happen simultaneously.
Right.
Did they did the rocks kiss?
Right.
No, did her hand hit the rock at
Right.
the same time? So if it didn't happen at the same time, that's self-defense. So whoever deemed it mutual combat is the person
It's
that's
the
the
problem.
problem.
Yeah.
It's not the girl.
And I think because that video went viral, it got the attention. It was an actual video of what's going on. They're going to try to do anything in their power to sweep it under the rug, clean themselves up, make their image look good. Even though we see from this particular baby, I think as her injuries as a result of this attack, she had a broken eye socket. She had the pictures that her mom posted on social media of her in the hospital were just disturbing. The bus driver let her off, and she saw a police officer at like a Kroger or something. Do I have to say allegedly when I'm talking about this stuff? I know
You don't have to, but yeah.
Okay, well, I'm here with. I'm gonna give you a dollar. I'm gonna give you a dollar just in case somebody try to come for me.
Right.
But so what was reported on the news said that the bus driver saw the attack. Of course, the bus driver's driving the bus. I can't stop the attack. I see what's going on. But as they were pulling by like a Kroger or something like that, just happened to see a police officer pumping gas and stop the bus and let the kid off, the young lady. And the young lady kind of collapsed in the grass. And somebody called 911 and called her parent. And the parent came to the scene, but by the time the parent came to the scene, they had already taken her baby away by ambulance. And I'm like, wait a minute, we see the pictures of this girl. Like, how can y'all even not say she's the victim? Why did she get put off the bus?
She needs somebody fighting for her. I did reach out to that mom, but I guess by the time I reached out, the situation was already over. So I guess they dropped the charges. But for her to be charged,
They dropped it. Well, it was the boy that was charged. One of the boys that was charged. The other boy was not charged. The girl got suspended or expelled.
Well, the other boy should have been charged, though.
So that was what they were saying, because she was able to fight. She sees in video swinging back, fighting mutual combat. So he didn't get a charge. Or you know how like they do in schools that I've taught.
But she got sucker punched, right? Didn't he hit her from behind?
Indeed.
So how is it mutual combat if you hit me from behind?
You turned around and you were able to. He wasn't able to overpower you. You were able to. It was.
What the hell is that? I'm sorry. What the hell is that?
You the attorney.
Because you able to overpower me, I'm not defending myself. What the hell is that? I'm actually dealing with a case very similar to that in the Harris County Criminal Court with adults, where my client was literally getting jumped, and he was also trying to defend himself, but he was defending himself with a weapon because he had a box cutter in his pocket. But he's getting his ass whooped by two people. And the state, which you'll see how these principals are, they're trying to act like mini prosecutors, and it's like, no, this ain't that. This school. This not jail. But the prosecutors in my case are trying to say that it was not self-defense. And I'm like, how? You have to have consideration. One, as minority people, black people, whatever, we are taught, defend yourself.
Yeah.
Fight. We are taught that.
Are they wanting people? This is what I don't understand in schools either, because of course, like I said, depending on the administrator who's over the discipline case, and depending on the kid, because we've seen kids that look like this get nothing done to them, and kids that look like this get the book thrown at them. So when you have these administrators that are able to make these decisions, what the hell is considered? What are we expecting kids to do? Ball up and get their ass whooped?
That's what they're expecting, I guess.
Because then they say, well, go tell an adult. Well, baby, I'm kind of getting my ass whooped on the floor right now. I can't go tell an adult.
But had that rock hit her in the temple or hit her in the wrong side, we would be having a completely different conversation. So thank God that little baby fought better. Thank God she was able to duck and dodge or whatever she did. But I'm telling you, we need to have first of all, we need like more minority people in leadership positions. Not just APs and principals, which those are important, but I'm talking about in the central office, office of discipline, all those central office jobs we didn't know existed until we got an education. We need more people that look like us making these decisions, because we're going to always say it's mutual combat if we don't have somebody that has a better looking eye to these situations.
And the school to prison pipeline is real. I know people don't like to say
Yeah,
that. But
no, it's true. I have a soft spot for that little girl because studies show that black girls are over disciplined more than everybody, more than black boys, more than everybody. Black girls are. You can look a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, the RBF. If you're looking like this.
yeah.
If you're looking a certain way, then you get in trouble. But just because you're looking a
And then
certain
it starts. We did an episode about that. It starts from there because I didn't say good morning to you. I don't seem respectful. And then it starts because now you're picking at me. Now I got a goddamn attitude.
But now I'm insubordinate because I'm not kissing your butt. Yeah.
And then when the people, depending on who's writing it up, when they go to the discipline website and write it up, they're gonna be very colorful. It's gonna be creative. It's gonna be creative writing because
she bulged her eyes and turned them to the left.
Not even happen like that, but that's how they do. So anyway, I told you I'm getting all the way out topic. I do it all the time. Let's talk quickly about you are one of 4 African Americans out of the 15.
Yes.
And then one of 3 African American women out of the 15.
Yes.
On the Texas State Board of Educators.
Yes.
Tell us about like your experiences. You, and I guess speaking for the whole of the four of us. How do you navigate that space?
All right.
That seems. I always say I could never because my attitude, my face, the political correctness in me will lead a building when I hear.
I don't really have political correctness either. I mean, I don't think I'm as PC as I should be, but it's been a very interesting space. You want to talk about the other black people on the board or just being on the board in general?
But being black and being on the board.
Okay, great. So let's first talk about being black and being on the board. So people say that I am unapologetically black just by how I carry myself. So before I even say anything. So that's interesting.
Very.
So I've gone to board meetings with braids, with blue tips and my big weave ponytails because I know about House Bill 265 that was passed. Thank you, Retta Bowers, the Crown Act. I think it's 265. You can't discriminate on little kids because of their hair in school. You ain't gonna discriminate on.
But we got the boy on Barbers Hill in alternative right now. But
right, he's still there.
Baby's still there.
Child. So if I want to wear my hair like this, I'm wearing my hair like this. But that's interesting, just my presence alone and how it's received. But generally, it's been good. Sometimes I feel like the lone wolf because I don't want to get in trouble. Let's see how I can say this.
Come on,
PC.
say it.
I am a unapologetically black woman that is for school choice. And by school choice, I mean I believe in traditional public schools, traditional ISDs. I went to a traditional public school. However, I love seeing these black school leaders start schools. Charter schools.
Okay.
I love that. I love that black kids get to have variety. I love that you get to go to a neighborhood and say, I could go to this school or I could go to this school for technology and I'm kind of into coding and AI, so I'm going to go to this school for technology. I like that. I like variety for kids, but that puts me in a salient spot because sometimes a lot of black Democrats are like, how could you be pro-charter? How could you? And I'm like, yo, you're not going to agree with me on everything else just because I'm for charter schools. So I feel kind of lonely with that.
Okay.
But then the other blacks on the board are not in my party. They're Republican. And we don't really agree on anything. So I actually like the fact that you don't know what you're going to get from any of the black people on the board because we're all so different. So they're not expecting me to speak on behalf of all black people because the other 3 black people on the board think very different from me. So that's actually a good thing.
That's interesting.
But you would think that people that look like you can kind of align and be on the same page, but that's just not the dynamic of this board.
So are the other,
but we are very friendly.
Okay,
we're very friendly and cordial.
Okay.
Yes.
So
we'll talk on the phone, text. Yeah.
The other members, the other 3, are y'all a part of the same political party? I didn't research that.
So one person is a Democrat.
Okay.
So we align on most things, except for mainly the charter issue. But the other 2 people are Republican.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
so 2 black Democrats, 2 black Republicans.
That is interesting. So do you feel like the token in the space?
Yeah. I would say yeah, especially.
We on camera.
Yeah, so how you doing? Come on, Chicago, how you doing? It's all right. You want to cross to give him his coffee? You can. Nah, I'm just kidding. But I think what really made me feel like, okay, I got a place here. This is the first time I felt like that was in June of this year. June, as everybody knows, on the State Board of Education is Charter Month. It's when we're getting charter schools promoted and passed in Texas. And there were, I think, 4 charter schools that could have been passed, but it was up to our votes. And all of the other school leaders were non-Black. And there was this one school leader trying to pass an entrepreneurship school in 5th Ward in Houston. She had been teaching in HISD and in various capacities for 17 years. So she knew public school, traditional public charter, business. She got it. She was the one that was supposed to be the superintendent. And I really believed in this school. Hell, they packed out the State Board of Education room with students and with people in the community. And I just thought that was a beautiful representation of what could be true for kids in 5th Ward. Yeah. And no other school had really done that. And I was walking around trying to get support from my other board members, not just the Black board members, but everybody. And I heard from one, she's just not ready. Why? You see how quiet it just was? That's what I got. I got silence.
That was your crickets.
Why? What does she need to improve? And nobody could give me these answers. And I'm like, is it because she Black? Like, what is it? And I didn't get really any support from the other Black members when it came to that school. And I'm like, y'all got to trust me. This is in my district. Right. And I was told before I got on the board, we kind of defer to the board members' district that school is going to be in, whether or not they think it's good for their kids in their district. And we want to give them that respect. So I'm like, look, this is going to be good here. And it felt like I was a lone wolf. And I said this speech that I now know Governor Abbott has listened to. I'm like, oh God. Oh, and I'm like, yo, like kids in our area need this school. And it wasn't about anti-charter, pro-charter, and all those political terms. It's just like, what's good for kids? I want this school. I'm not saying that the public school teachers in 5th Ward aren't doing anything, but we can have this too. Right. If you ever drive down Lyons Avenue or drive in the 77026 zip code, you'll see that adding a school is doing more good than harm. Period. Even if I don't want it to fail. I hope it does great. But even if it does fail in 3 years, give them a shot. Right. Give them a try. Right. So I felt alone when I was advocating for that school, but when it got passed, when people started coming together, I think it passed 9-4. I was like, okay, I do still feel alone in some of my views, but I have a place here. Okay. So
that's good. That's good to know. And I think that's so important that schools offer a variety. I thank God pay extremely amount of high property taxes, school district taxes where I am. But one positive thing I can say for many of the negative things I could say is that our schools have tons of programs like that for students, especially on the secondary level for those kids when they graduate high school to go somewhere post-secondary, even if it's not college. They have so many trade schools and the girls can graduate with their cosmetology licenses and barber licenses. And we got mechanics, we got welders, we got kids graduating high school and they've trained to do the underwater welding and they're making 3 times what I'm making. And
welder, hey, we need to start making welding sexy again because welders make money. Okay,
it's sexy.
Hey, you got any welders, welder listeners on your show? Because you see how
need to.
You got any welders on your show?
We're gonna find them. So, but I think that's very important to make sure that we're putting programs in places in these schools that don't target kids that want to go to college or the kids that I don't really care about. What do my kid got to do this weekend? Isosceles triangle and hypotenuse and this and that. We got to do some geometry vocabulary cards. But my kid has other plans for his life. So it's like, hey, I need you to make a 75 in this class. I need you to just get us through. And then we're going to work on the other stuff. Because we know that this may not necessarily have anything to do with what you want to do for your life. But the state of Texas says you got to take this class to graduate in the state of Texas. You got to take environmental science to graduate. So I feel like giving kids more choice is what's going to get them interested. What's going to keep that dropout rate from being where it is. Yeah. What's going to keep the graduation rate at what we need it to be in. And so many of these kids, it's crazy that I have, going off topic, I'm running out of my time, but I have kids that I taught when they were in the 8th grade that are now graduated and moving on to college or moving on to whatever they're going to do post-secondary. Or when they get to me in 8th grade, they have this beautiful love for learning. They just have all these great things and all these plans for themselves. And then when they get to high school, like somebody comes and crushes their dream. And then they turn into a completely different person. Ooh. And that's so heartbreaking. And I see that with so many of my students. They email me back or I see them out. I saw a little girl working at the car wash the other day when I took my car to get oil change. And I'm like, girl, hey, what's up? Tell me all the good things. Well, this happened in the 11th grade, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like it's so sad. But giving kids choice is what's going to keep them there. If the state is worried about money, funding, all the things, do things that are going to keep these kids there. It's business. Like I think people need to understand that it's business. School is business. We can't deny that.
It is.
And the people are going to do what's best for business. But if y'all going to do what's best for business, can we pretend like we doing what's best for
Right. Can we at least do what's best for kids?
Can we fake?
And one thing I learned being on the State Board of Education, if you want to change curriculum standards and what students are required to learn, it goes through a 4 to 5 year cycle before you can even make a change to a T, for example.
That's crazy.
So you got to be there. You got to be there to play the game.
So we need y'all to join the Leadership for Educational Equity.
Man, we need y'all to run for office too. I know it's 2 or 3 seats that's coming up.
Wow.
So
now you can't run for office and still be a teacher. Right?
Uh-uh.
Do you have to? Because I know if I want to run for my local school board, I cannot. If I win the election, I have to resign my position.
But you can run for State Board of Education
And still keep my teaching position?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that would seem like...
You just would have to have a principal in a district that's understanding that you would have to have session, 5 times a year. And sometimes you have special sessions, so you would need coverage for your classroom. But we actually have someone that was running for a seat in District 6 that's a teacher. I hope one day she wins, too.
That's awesome.
But, yeah, you can be a teacher and be on the State Board of Education.
Because where I live, I would be taking somebody's spot that needs to get their spot taken.
Yeah.
Interesting. So now let's go back to the money right quick. Tell me, how much money do I need? I need to start. Girl, OnlyFans. Have you seen a teacher that why am I going to OnlyFans? I know y'all.
No,
baby.
If it weren't for y'all, if y'all would stop trolling me and let me live my life, I probably would have got an OnlyFans too. Making money.
Man, this lady done made $1 million in 6 months.
What's she doing? Feet?
I don't know. So I made a video this morning. And I asked the other people to go research because I'm not giving them my money. But I want the other people.
You can't look at nothing with OnlyFans. I typed in. I'm like, will they at least give you like a tease or something?
Indeed.
You got to subscribe before they show you anything. I'm like, this ain't for me.
Because I want to see what
give me a little.
What the people are doing. Now I am like under here. I'm like tatted all the way up, right?
Okay.
So I could do
that way. You have a nice community in OnlyFans.
But no, I would have to because you would know it. I could.
Oh, I see.
Face, but you would be like, oh, I done seen that little.
Yeah, but you could be the masked teacher.
I gotta figure out something. That lady made $1 million in 6 months.
But what was she doing? Was she going all the way, or was she doing?
So I asked that
you
question
don't know
this
yet
morning because I want somebody to find out. But I said she came. It was like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Somebody outed her. Okay, because
haters.
I think it was probably somebody's husband. I mean, somebody's wife. They probably found the video and was being a hater because their husband was subscribing, giving her the $29.99 a month, and somebody was being a hater. But found it out. So anyway, look, all off topic. How much money do I need to run for school board? We go to OnlyFans.
I'm gonna say this again. You don't even need the $300 to put your name on the ballot. You can get petition signatures in lieu of paying for the $300 to get your name on the ballot.
Do you need?
I think it's 500, or from my seat it might be 250.
What?
You can go around your school and get that.
What?
Yeah. But so I don't want you to. I want to say this again. Like, don't, for any of your listeners and for you, don't let money be a hindrance to you at least trying, because you don't need your own money. You got a podcast. You have a great following online. Let me tell. Oh, can I say something real quick? Let me say this. All right, look. Because I am pro-charter, I'm for school choice. I had people that were also pro-charter support my campaign financially. They paid for like mailers and stuff like that. But don't get it twisted. I outraised my opponents 5 times as much just on social media before PAC started investing in me.
Really?
So when they see that you're serious about it, people will start coming around, and people want to say I'm bought and boss. Nah, fam, I was outraising you before anybody even came, just from posting reels, just saying, hey, I really want to do this. I care about kids. Yeah, I like music. I got some bars, but I like kids, and I want to do this, and people believed in it. So I was able to raise money online. I know you can do that. I know you can. You don't need no money.
You're giving me all the ideas.
You don't need no money.
But do I want now? How deep do they go digging? Because I don't have no dirt. I don't have no criminal dirt. Ooh, I don't have no nothing gonna pull up your divorce.
I do.
You do it. You got criminal dirt.
I mean, I was just arrested. There was no convictions on that.
Okay,
a couple of arrests. Yeah,
a couple of arrests, not too major. Not too major. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Well, they dig up my divorce.
Yeah, what I will say is, like, I had a campaign manager, and he also pulled what they call my ops report. So anything negative they could possibly say and they could possibly spin, I'm like, damn. But it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
So, and I think because of Trump, I'm going to say something kind of positive about Trump. He was so outlandish that people are not easily swayed by what you would be concerned about. So the fact that you were divorced, no offense, but nobody cares. Nobody gonna care about that.
I don't care either.
The fact that what was I worried about? I was worried about when I had owed the IRS those years ago. They pulled that up and it was fine. I don't have any divorces. I'm trying to think. They didn't talk about my arrest, but I talk about my arrest. So it's like, if you were worried about something, if you put it out there, it's like,
what you gonna say?
Yeah.
So just be prepared for the tons of mudslinging that's getting ready.
Yeah, I mean, I would say some people in my campaign had me delete some stuff because they're like, well, if you say this, they might say this, and if you got these pictures, they look
delete some stuff on your social media.
Yeah, they made me scrub my social media, but then after a while, I was like, I'm not doing this. You go just get what you get. So I have a feeling and a sneaky suspicion that if somebody runs for me, because the ballot just opened up yesterday. So whoever's going to run against me, they'll probably try to screen record some of my stuff and say, look, you want this girl?
Wait, so your position is up for...
It is. So State Board of Education. Amen. State Board of Education, you pull either a 2-year term or a 4-year term. And most of the Democrats pull 2-year terms. So that means it's up again in 25. So I have to decide whether or not I'm running starting yesterday and it ends on the 13th of December. So I'm going to run again.
Oh, I was just... my next question. You're going to run again. So what do we need to do? Who needs to go out and vote when it's time to make sure that we keep... Everybody. Now, if you live in... It depends. Okay. I may not be on your ballot, but if you live in Houston, more than likely than not, I'll be on your ballot. Okay. So you'll have me or you'll have Will Hickman... Audrey Young, Michelle Palmer, all the other candidates. You might have this fine young lady on your ballot, hopefully. So, but yeah, it depends on where you live. I don't have Pearland though. Okay. With redistricting, they carved out Pearland, and that's all District 7. It's not District 4 anymore. So yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, if I could be candid and transparent, all that trolling from the campaign. From a black woman too. My opponent was black, and they trolled me, and that cut deep. I'm still in therapy over that, by the way.
That's us. But that's gonna be our. Actually, I wish you could stick around because that's gonna be our next.
For real,
man. What we getting ready to talk about that, like black women in leadership, like how we are the worst to each other. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. But from all that trolling, and people want to say it's just politics. That does not mean I don't feel. That does not mean that I was subjected to this. I'm also in politics, and I ain't say shit about nobody. Yeah. I was talking about me. I ain't had no name ID. I'm not from here. Right. Staci Childs, Childs for the children. That's all I said. I didn't say nothing else about nobody else. That and that Prager U stuff had me feeling like, you know what? It was a good year. It was a good 2 years. I'm good. But then when I started lining myself again with people that were like-minded, it made me feel better. So I'm going to try again. So... Let me try to think of some last minute things I can add. Let's talk about, like, what are some policies that you think are in the work? And when I say policies that you think are in the works, I'm really being selfish and asking, what's up with the teacher pay? Like, what kind of policies y'all bringing up to the board that's going to put some more money in our pocket?
So, quiz. Who's your House of Representatives rep?
I'm not going to say it.
No, say it.
You're going to know where I know what I know. Where I am. My House of Representatives.
Oh, you don't want them to know where you live. You know who it is. You know who your state senator is. Those are the people you need to put pressure on. Okay. The State Board of Education, we can't do anything regarding teacher pay. When it comes to like allocating funds and stuff like that, that's the House of Representatives and your state senator. Oh. And the governor, I guess, the governor as well. But, they had a surplus and they had this $14 million when it came to education, blah, blah, blah. They were trying to get $500 million to go towards these vouchers, but it didn't pass, thankfully.
So Abbott's session that he just brought up, it didn't pass.
Yeah, that's good. So there's money there. I know that there are, like James Tallarico and Nathan Johnson. There are Jarvis Johnson. There are people talking about increasing teacher pay, but you remember you said numbers? Yeah. You got to you got to close the club out, block the club out up in Austin, and y'all got to go testify. See, I didn't learn this stuff when I was in school, and I'm on the State Board of Education. I can tell you, I ain't learned nothing about this. I didn't realize the power in going to testify. Right. I'm still learning. Y'all got to do that. Yeah. So
that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So advice for aspiring leaders, educators that want to take on leadership.
Yes.
What advice would you give them based on your experience?
I got you.
Okay.
Take care of yourself.
Oh,
Because as leaders, we tend to be others first. I'm about to say something controversial.
please do. We like
I'm about to say something against everything my mama, my aunties, and my grandparents taught me.
Come on.
Don't be others first.
Ooh.
Don't be others first. You always have others in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be others first. You always have others in mind, though. Self first.
Mm-hmm.
You got to preserve self. If you're not preserved, you can't help others.
Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way. I learned that in this campaign, being on SBO. Think about my life. Let me walk you through my life real quick. I'm on the State Board of Education, so I'm representing 1.8 million students. I'm a public defender, basically. So I go and I represent indigent people. I go make music, so I'm being vulnerable, and I'm like giving myself, and I'm being vulnerable enough to let y'all see me in this space. What I got left?
Right. Nothing. Nothing.
Self first. All you aspiring leaders, please take care of yourself. That means get a good morning routine. So if you wake up at 5 a.m., coffee, yoga, prayer, do that and do it with fidelity. Don't stop, because that's where I struggle. And make sure you have a therapist. Male, female, make sure you have a therapist. Make sure you have you don't have to be vegan, right? But make sure you're eating well. Lay off. Well, I would say you can drink, but like just monitor it. Because for me, when I started getting sad, I started leaning more on the drinking more. I wasn't an alcoholic, I would say, but I started leaning more on the drinking more than I was used to. And I'm like, wait a minute, this turned into Saturday to Friday to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday through Saturday. I'm like, okay, no.
Yeah.
So like just monitor that and take care of yourself. And the more you take care of yourself, the more you can show up for other people. So always be others minded. Don't you dare, leave your community out. Don't you dare forget, your people, but yourself first.
And I think so. Remember earlier I said, like, I've entered my post-COVID, I've entered my teacher villain era, and my teaching villain era, that is rule number one. I used to be, parents would call me, reach out to me, email me, I have my emails on my phone, my principal's email. Baby, the second I stopped doing that, like, I'm a whole new educator because I can't give you anything. And I put boundaries in place. Like, you email me at 4:30, that's unfortunate. I'm going to hit you back at 4:30.
Tomorrow.
4:30 next day. And if you're talking to me reckless in an email, delete.
Please.
Like, it's so many things that I've now put in place to preserve my mental health. Because when I call the people, I called the lady the other day, the TRS lady. TRS lady told me I had to work for another 10 years. I can't retire until 2033. So I said, I know, I've always wanted to be in the classroom. I've never aspired to be a principal, counselor, anything. I've always wanted to be in the classroom because that's where I feel like I can make the most impact. Sure. Sometimes being a principal or assistant principal, you have to play the game.
You do, yeah.
I don't tap dance. I can't do it. So
you're going to have to do a little bit when you run for SBOE.
but I feel like I want to run as my unapologetic self too. So like maybe there's a market for that. I don't know. We'll see. But I only care about pouring into my students. I don't care about pouring into their parents. I know that may give me some negative controversy. I don't care about pouring into my parents. I'm not here to.
No, you don't work for them. You work for the students.
I'm here for you, and so I want to make sure that I am there for them. But I also have to put boundaries in place with them. So like I teach a whole email etiquette lesson. Let me tell you how you're gonna talk to me when you email me. So there are certain things that we have to do. But with my own 3 kids, I've gone through that with my oldest, who's now grown and got a job paying more than me. More than I'm making. But there were times I'd be at the football practice on my iPad or football games trying to grade papers and da-da-da. I done missed a touchdown. I done missed. And it's like, nah, you got to cut off. So I cut off. In open house now, meet the teacher, that's a part of my spiel when I'm talking to parents. Hey, I'm with y'all. I love your kids, but I am a mom. And I am going to be a mom after 4:30. So I won't come back to being your child's teacher until 8. You bring up my social media? 8 to 4:30. That's what I'm here for. I don't want to talk about anything that has.
Yeah, I have clients hit me up and they get ignored.
Yeah,
social media.
Yeah,
I mean, unless your case resolved, then we.
Yeah,
cool.
right. The other than that, no. So, last thing, and then we're gonna get out of here. Okay. So let's talk about the decisions that are made by education boards and how they often prioritize political correctness over preparing students for the real world. How do you ensure that the policy decisions are going to directly benefit students without like falling into some of these political ideologies?
I'll give you a great example because it, like I said, a lot of change, at least on the SBOE, takes years before you can actually say, I changed that policy. Right. But, by College Board. And, College Board, they write the AP courses. And College Board was basically shot down because they wrote an AP African American Studies course. And in Florida, they wanted to adopt it. DeSantis said no, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But now, people that fall in line with DeSantis's way of thinking, I guess, have now denounced College Board in these secret groups. So we had something come up, I think in April, where we were going to adopt or not adopt AP pre-calculus for this upcoming school year. And there was so much back and forth about this test because College Board wrote the AP pre-calculus test. And a lot of my board members, because of their political stances, don't like College Board, therefore we don't like AP pre-calculus. And I'm like, wait. So if we say no to this, or if we don't push this now, 11th graders can't take AP pre-calculus? And then the representatives from the TEA said, that's true. So, and I'm like, so y'all don't want the kids to learn math now over this? So I called the question, which in Robert's Rules of Order, calling the question is like, no more discussion, we're going to vote right now. So once I called the question, I think it became, I asked about, are kids going to be able to take this course? And I called the question immediately after that so nobody could like respond.
Right.
And it was passed. Okay. So that is an example of how in a very like minute way you cannot let the political chatter get in the way of what's good for kids. Because I mean, don't you get like college credit if you get a 3 or higher? I'm not in the classroom.
Is it 4? 4? I gotta ask.
If you get a 3, okay.
3, okay.
If you get a 3 or higher on the test, yeah, I ain't that far removed.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of kids will be able to say, I got math credit when they go to college now.
Yeah.
So,
I was about to go into something else, but no, we got to go. So,
you sure?
I'm positive because I will talk to you all day.
Okay.
We'll talk to you all day. So, last thing, music. Music is your thing.
Oh, yeah.
You got some bops. You got some little twerking bops. I think U-Haul is my favorite little bop. Damn, I wish
you
could have gotta insert the music
Drag that
in
wagon
there.
like a U-Haul.
U-Haul. Hello. So, you that is your decompress. That is something that you do to. I'm not the attorney right now. I'm not the educator right now. I am not the state board representative. I'm Staci. Yes. And Staci goes and makes music that you could pop your ass.
Wouldn't it be dope if like one of these songs popped and I could just do that and be on the SBOE?
That would be so amazing.
Like I am like running that to happen in my life like so much because I think, some of my colleagues on the board say that I'm not a good representative for students because I do that, but I just beg to differ. I just feel like, you remember how you said kids need to see stuff early?
They got to.
If they see this girl on Instagram saying, drag that wagon like a U-Haul or like, I want the easy way out and I'm unapologetically myself and then I go in the boardroom the next day and I'm voting.
You are the girl. You are that girl.
Not that, but I'm saying like anything is possible for kids. Like I feel like that is why I want to do it so much. That is why. So,
and if we had people I like that we can, more of you, that these girls can look up to. Like, you can rap about...
I'm not rapping about my booty hole brown. I'm not rapping about, like, bang, bang, shoot 'em up. Come on now. That's not even my life.
It's empowerment.
Yeah. It's really just empowerment. I don't care about your size. I don't care about that fupa or that cellulite. I don't care about, like, size, how you look. I know you working at 9 to 5. But, like, let your hair down, dance, know, so
we need more of that. So we're gonna definitely make sure that we're gonna insert a U-Haul because I'm saying U-Haul because that's my favorite.
Yes.
But so that's my favorite song. So we're gonna make sure that we insert the clip.
Amen.
But letting people know that it is okay for you to be normal. It is okay for you to work a boardroom job, a regular job, and just be you.
Yes.
So I love that. So
thank you.
Oh my God, hold on, I gotta open the door. All right. So we gonna wrap it up. So I sure appreciate you coming. I wish I could talk to you some more. I think I had you gotta come back. Okay. I know your schedule is busy with the sessions and all of that, but I feel like it's gonna be so many more questions.
We gotta come back because we could talk about your campaign.
Oh, I think we're gonna do that for real. I think we're gonna do that for real. I think I got some things in the work. We gotta do that though. So anyway, I appreciate you coming out. Thank you so kindly for having us, for having yourself on, for coming on with us. And y'all make sure y'all keep am I speaking something else into existence? Representative Staci Childs, Representative Attorney Staci Childs. Keep her in the house representing for our kids because we need her.
Amen.
So thank you. And go download U-Haul. That's my favorite song, y'all.
Thank you.
All right. See y'all later. Bye.
Kiss,
This podcast was made possible by producer extraordinaire D. Francis at the legendary Lab 7 Studios in Mo City, Texas.